In this video, I'll cover some of the astronomy events related to astronomy events happening in 2019. And I live in the central time zone, so those are the times that you would see here. I am recording this later in January, so our January 1st flyby of the New Horizons spacecraft past a small Kuiper Belt object, Ultimate Thule, has already occurred. And perhaps you've seen pictures of the two kind of spherical icy objects touching each other. And data and pictures will continue to come back for 20 months. The radio transmitter is low power and the spacecraft is very far away. So feel free to visit pluto.jhuapl.edu, Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab, and keep updated on the results coming back from that amazing spacecraft. Then January 20th, the total lunar eclipse has already occurred. If you'd like a brief explanation as to why lunar eclipses occur or don't occur, you could visit my website, astronomy.gpclements.com, astronomy.gpclements.com, and at the end of this document, that website is printed out, and also you can get your own copy of this free astronomy event list from my website. So let's keep on going down here. February 19th is a supermoon, and supermoon meaning it's a little bit larger in the sky than usual. That's because the moon's path around the Earth is not a circle, and sometimes the moon is closer in its orbit, sometimes far away. And this particular February, the moon is close to the Earth at the time of full moon, February 19th. Then February 27th, Mercury is to the left of the sun in the sky. So in the early evening, you would be able to catch a glimpse of it. The better occurrence of this event is going to be in June this year. So we'll come to that later down the page as I keep on making progress down here. Then definitely astronomy related, the March equinox. The sky can be divided up into a northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. If you would imagine the Earth's equator, expanding that ring out into space, onto the sky, there is a celestial equator. And on March 20th, the sun will be on the celestial equator. And I think that occurs roughly at 5 p.m. Central Time. And on this day, ignoring atmospheric effects, 12 hours of night, 12 hours of daylight for all points on the Earth. Then the next event, March 20th, is another full moon, when the moon is a little bit larger than average. It's not quite as good as the February supermoon, but there we are again. And then March 29th to 31st, the Mars would be near the Pleiades, grouping of stars in the constellation of Taurus. If you might observe that just for the aesthetic appearance. April 10th, Jupiter begins its retrograde motion, where if you kept track of the position of Jupiter on the sky, you'll find that Jupiter is moving west through the starfield starting on April 10th. The normal motion, the usual motion, is for planets to move to the east, but the Earth is somewhat overlapping or lapping in a race. The Earth is on the inner track of the solar system orbits and moving faster. It doesn't take the Earth as long to go around the sun as it takes Jupiter. And that leads to apparent kind of backwards motion on the sky for Jupiter. Jupiter's not really backing up in space, but from our point of view, it does undergo this retrograde motion. So that's kind of interesting. And various models in astronomy, back to the Greeks, tried to explain this, but became fully well explained by Kepler around 1600, and Galileo in this time period as well, but enough of that. So let's go down again here. April 19th, another full moon, and then April 21st is Easter on our calendar this year. And this is interesting. The rough rule is Easter is on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. However, the spring equinox set by many hundreds of years ago, set by the church, is always March 21st. Now, it's actually March 20th, and there is a full moon on March 20th as well after the spring equinox, the astronomical equinox, but the ecclesiastical equinox is on March 21st. So this April 19th full moon is the first full moon after the ecclesiastical spring equinox, and that gives us Easter on April 21st rather than about a month earlier in March. So that's this rule is basically Easter's on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. However, the definition of spring equinox is different for astronomers and the church. Moving on, April 22nd, the Lyrids meteor shower. However, there's a problem with the moon. That moonlight will make it difficult to view this meteor shower. Let's move on down to June 10th. Jupiter at opposition. If you would think of the positioning in space with the Earth and the Sun at opposition, Jupiter is opposite in the sky, opposite direction compared to the Sun. So it'll be directly south at midnight, and this is the time when Jupiter is close to the Earth. That's going to be bright and most easily viewed in a telescope. So June 10th, if you want to view Jupiter. Some other kind of semi-alignments, Venus near Aldebaran on June 16th. And then June 21st, another big important astronomy event, June solstice. This is when the sun is its greatest angle above the celestial equator, and we get the longest amount of daylight. We get the most direct sunlight onto the northern hemisphere, giving us our summer season for the northern hemisphere, and just the opposite, of course, for the southern hemisphere. So June 23rd, this will be a time to try to view Mercury if you've not seen it before. Mercury is as it moves in the sky and viewed from the Earth, it'll be at a fairly large angle, well, not large, 17, 18 degrees, something like that, to the left of the sun. Don't look at the sun, but at sunset, look for not a bright object near the horizon, but kind of a dim object. And if you have not seen, look at the horizon about 5 days before this, and you'll not see Mercury. Mercury moves pretty fast on the sky. But then on June 23rd, it'll be there, and then 5 days later, it won't be there. So try that. If you have a sky app on your smartphone, that would be helpful in finding the position of Mercury. And then June 4th, the Earth is now far from the Sun in its orbit around the Sun. It might seem backwards to you, but the position of the Earth or distance of the Earth to the Sun does not control our seasons. Their seasons are controlled by the tilt of the Earth and how much direct sunlight we receive and how long the Sun is above the horizon. That controls our seasons, not the distance of the Earth from the Sun. And then let's go down to August. Nice meteor shower, usually, the Perseid. However, the moon is going to interfere with your ability to see the dimmer meteors. So not the best year for the Perseid meteor shower. And then getting in September 23rd, the September equinox, when the sun is back on the celestial equator. And again, the equal day, equal night, and the start of fall for our northern hemisphere. And going further down to October 20th, again, Mercury will be to the left of the sun in the sky, but it's not quite as well positioned for viewing compared to the June 23rd event for Mercury. Another meteor shower and another moon problem, October 21st. and into the 22nd. It's going down to November 24th. Venus and Jupiter will be near each other on the sky, and after sunset would be the time to view that. And then December 10th, Venus and Saturn. Venus is moving the most rapidly of these three planets, and Venus will have moved away from being close to Jupiter on the sky to being close to Saturn on the sky. Of course, in space, they're physically not close at all. It's just from our apparent, from our viewpoint, they're apparently close to each other. And then December 22nd, December solstice, the sun will be low in the sky, and we get our shortest day. So, excuse me. I hope you see some of these events. And again, you can get this list freely printed out. Astronomy.gpclements.com. Astronomy.gpclements.com. Hope your skies are clear.